ball, and I was screaming it. Because he came in the game, right, and he's been in whatever. Every time he's taken the snap, he's had 17 runs. I said, Dad, they are going to throw this ball. I'm telling you, they're going to throw this ball. This is the type of thing where the Vikings just get beat on because it's the Vikings, and he did. He actually, he threw a terrible ball, but Michael Thomas made a great catch.
Yeah. Before you let me go, one more rip.
Yep, go.
On negativity. Jimmy Butler.
Oh, general soreness tonight.
Yeah, come on. Will you just get rid of this clown? Enough. No one's just please. Don't you agree?
But how good was he against the Lakers? He is owning Glenn Taylor right now. He is owning him because when he sits out, the Timberwolves get killed against the Mavericks. Then he plays against the Lakers, puts up 30 against LeBron, and the Timberwolves somehow win that game. You're going to see tonight, Dave. They play Utah. Utah's a really good team, well-coached. Quinn Snyder, Donovan Mitchell, they're a really good team.
They're
going to get blown out tonight, and Ricky Rubio is going to add the last laugh.
I know. He's doing and that's why if I'm Taylor, come on, get a backbone. This guy, I'm tired of this guy is just a jellyfish of a human owner. I'm sure he's smart, and I know he made himself a billionaire, whatever. Come on. This is embarrassing for the whole organization, fans. I'm tired of it.
I am too.
Just make the trade with Houston. Let's move on.
And 4 first-round picks, I don't know. So here's some of the reports here. Jimmy Butler is taking the next step in a 6-week-long process aimed at getting the All-Star out of Minnesota by sitting tonight against Utah, and it could lead to an extended absence, the league source tells me and Shams. Butler started contemplating not playing on Tuesday night and made the final decision on Wednesday night. Sources tell me and Shams that this is John Krasinski reporting this. The Wolves termed it, quote, general soreness and precautionary rest, close quote. But Butler informed Thibodeau this morning that he wants to be traded.
No, really?
Oh, man.
Really?
Come on.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. This
so
organization has got to be one of the top 5 worst ever, and I'm going to history of the world. I'm including companies.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any company has ever been run this poorly, and the things that have happened. I can't get over it. Just make the trade.
And how about this? I asked Tibbs if this absence was related at all to the larger situation. Tibbs responded, no, but Wolves had a day off yesterday and have another tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Do you think they could have come up with something better than the old Joe Mauer general soreness excuse? Because that's the first thing I thought of. The next thing you know, he's going to have the same bilateral leg weakness. They're going to go with that. So, I don't know.
Oh, Dave, it's great talking to you, man.
Yeah,
it's
I appreciate you checking in with me. I'm sure we'll have some more negativity next week we can focus on.
We can. That's the new spot here. Dave is getting a new spot here. The negative Dave spot for 10 minutes where we just absolutely rip teams.
How about those Twins, huh? Getting rid of their guys already?
Rocco Baldelli.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with him. He said all the right things, but I'm talking about these players now, they're starting to cut the cord with, so they're starting to admit more fault, and I just think that's another two-headed joke there. Just funny, they're right about 20 feet, the stadiums are about 20 feet from each other. No real shock.
All right, Dave. We'll chat next week. We'll have our spot.
To you.
All right, Dave. Have a good one, bud.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Negative Dave, everyone. The greatest. Chris Hine of the Star Tribune joins me now. He covers the Minnesota Timberwolves. Great writer. I've followed him for last couple of weeks here. Chris, how are you today? Thanks for coming on and giving me some time.
No problem. I'm doing okay. I'm just trying to keep up with everything that's going on around here.
And it's been hard. Seriously, the drama that has really went on around this franchise, and it's been for the bad, obviously. I heard Keeping Up with the Kardashians is struggling on E! News. Why don't you just do Keeping Up with the Minnesota Timberwolves? Because that's what it's been like the last few months here. And now you get the news from Twitter that Jimmy Butler won't play tonight. And now, as soon as you think the trade speculations quiet down for a few hours, they're right back up here. Talk me through this and what's going on right now with Jimmy Butler and sitting out tonight.
Yeah, so this is not the first time Butler has sat out a game this season. He sat out the third game of the season, I believe, against the Dallas Mavericks. But that was the tail end of a back-to-back.
Yep.
So everybody, kind of, I guess, want to say gave him a pass for that because he hadn't practiced much in training camp, and so he was kind of trying to get his legs back under him. But this one raises a few more eyebrows. It's not on a back-to-back. It's a home game. But Tom Thibodeau said it has nothing to do really with, the trade situation, any impending deals, nothing like that. But there are reports flying around that might not be the case. I'm hearing that, to the best of my knowledge, that this is about, this is all part of his plan to rest and not overextend himself early in the season. But, the truth is very hard to get at in this situation.
Now, I know you probably haven't gotten this question enough this year. But where do you think Jimmy Butler ends up here? When do you think they deal him? Do they deal him? Give me your theory on Jimmy Butler.
Well, as to whether he gets dealt, the answer to that is, I believe, yes, because the operating mandate that has come from Glenn Taylor, the owner of the team, is that they will trade Jimmy Butler. He has said that on the record, and if the owner says we're going to trade him, you have to presume that they're going to trade him. Mm-hmm. The when part of that deal is what is very much up in the air. I don't know when, and I don't think anybody really knows when a deal is going to take place. It could happen today. It could happen at the trade deadline. There's no firm timetable for when this is going to happen. I think for everybody's best interest in Minnesota, I think it would be great if it was done sooner rather than later and have this hang around. But Tom Thibodeau doesn't necessarily operate that way. And he might want to hang on to Butler as long as he possibly can before he has to finally trade him. So the answer is, will he be traded? I believe that yes. When is much more a question.
Unbelievable. Okay. Karl Towns here. Let's talk. He had a good game against the Lakers, but he has struggled for the most part. It's been a slow start for him. Shooting about 40-something% from the field, 45 from three, which is actually pretty good. About 17, 18 points a game. What do you think? What have you seen from him? Why do you think he's kind of gotten off to this slow start?
It's tough to say. There's a lot of people that want to theorize that it's because Butler is still here. Yeah. And, I don't know. He hasn't come out and said that himself. I guess it makes for fun theorizing and gossip, but it's hard to say. He certainly looked engaged and ready to go the other night against the Lakers. He didn't have his best game from an efficiency standpoint, but he certainly made an impact both on the defensive end and with his rebounding. And he did score, I think, 25 points or something like that.
Yep.
So it was a much better effort than his previous two games. So it's really hard to say definitively that Jimmy Butler's presence and whatever strained relationship exists between them is contributing to Towns' effort on the court. It's just very hard to come to that conclusion. But maybe you look at one of Towns' best games, though, and it was one of the games that Butler was out in that Dallas game.
Yep.
So let's see. It'll be interesting to see how he plays tonight against Utah with Butler also out for that.
All right, couple more here. Let's go. Let's get away from the negatives here. Let's get a little positive. A guy who I've been impressed with is Josh Okogie, who's obviously the rookie from Georgia Tech. He's stepping in for Andrew Wiggins, who's banged up. About 10 points a game, 6 rebounds. What have you seen from Josh? What have you liked from him?
Yeah, he's been one of the bright spots early in the season. Absolutely. I think he's kind of captured the hearts of fans and has won favor with his teammates and coaching staff with his energy and hustle on the defensive end of the floor, especially. You see him out there, kind of giving it his all on that end of the floor. And it's hard not to have teammates react to that. The crowd certainly has reacted to it in the short time here. So he seems to be, as of right now, a good use of that number 20 overall pick last year, because he looks like he's on his way to developing into at least a rotation player here. Offensively, there are still some things to work on, especially his consistency shooting the ball.
Yep.
That's probably something that will come with time. So I think the future is bright there for Okogie, and I think that overall you have to like what you've seen so far from him.
And this is what you expected to get from him. I mean, he was an effort guy. I actually had his old assistant coach, Coach Eric Reveneau from Georgia Tech, on a couple months ago, and you knew what you were getting from Josh at a defensive standpoint, at an effort standpoint. And I think Wolves fans have really seen that. You've seen that, but the bonus is being able to shoot the ball, and that will come with time. You've seen players develop a jump shot, but you can't teach effort. And does he not kind of remind you of a poor man's Jimmy Butler in a way?
I think in a way, when Butler first entered the league, he certainly struggled offensively. But again, the defense and the effort was always there his early years in Chicago. And, you just keep playing, you keep shooting, you work on it in the off season, you work on it in practice, and eventually that shot is going to blossom. Tom Thibodeau keeps saying that we see him shoot in practice, we know how good he can be shooting the ball.
Yep.
So it just might take time to translate from practice into a game. He doesn't have quite the size that Jimmy Butler does. So he's 6'4", so a little shorter there. So tough to make an apples to apples comparison between him and Butler. But in terms of, I guess, stylistically, there's definitely comparisons in how they play on the defensive end of the floor.
Now, I know there's a lot of bigs on this team: Taj Gibson, Karl Towns, Gorgie Dang, those players. But a guy that I thought I'd see a little more of is another rookie, Keita Bates-Diop. Is he's just suffering from guys that are in front of him like Gibson, Towns, and Dang, or what do we see here? Why do you think he hasn't seen any time?
I think that's it. I think Thibodeau likes to stick with a 9-man rotation, and right now he's not one of the 9. He looked good in the preseason, I thought, and I think that overall the organization likes him and they like what they've seen from him. So I think it's just a work in progress with him. And, Teague is out tonight. Butler is out tonight. Andrew Wiggins is still not 100% to go tonight.
Yikes.
So, if 3 players end up sitting out for the Timberwolves tonight, you may get your first look at Keita Bates-Diop tonight. It's definitely in the cards. I wouldn't rule it out. But I think I like the way he attacks the basket and kind of his offensive game. I think he's very smooth and he's got a lot of potential there, I think.
Yeah, he's got kind of like an older type of game, kind of mid-range type player. So we'll look for that tonight. Last 2 here before we let you go. Let's talk a little about Derrick Rose. 14 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I don't know how to, he's an energy bunny. He turns it over, but you know what? He gives his team some life off the bench that I think they miss from Jamal Crawford. I mean, Crawford was a guy who came off and provided a spark offensively, and obviously he didn't want to stay with the Wolves. What are your thoughts on Derrick Rose so far this season?
I think you're right. He's been a shot of instant energy, definitely off the bench, and it looks like there are times where you look at him play, and it looks like he hasn't lost too much from where he was before all the injuries took a toll, because he still has kind of that violent cutting game, driving to the basket, and a little bit of acrobat in him when he's shooting it. They don't always go in. And sometimes his percentages and efficiency suffers as a result, but he's somebody that on that second unit, defenses definitely have to account for. So in that sense, and he's playing on a veteran's minimum contract, so in that sense, he's been worth it for the Wolves this year. And I think it's just generally, good to see him just back playing again. He might not be what he once was, and he might not be the most efficient player in the world, but I think just from a pure basketball standpoint, to have him out there healthy is good, I think, for the game of basketball.
100% agree. All right, last one here before we let you go. if the Wolves don't make the playoffs, if the Jimmy Butler's gone, they trade him, and this team, kind of just fades into the night, where does Tom Thibodeau stand? Do you think he's gone? I mean, it's really been, to me, it's been a disaster in terms of giving up Zach LaVine,